Every night, the porch light would flicker. He thought it was faulty wiring until he checked the footage. That feeling, the quiet certainty that someone is out there, just beyond the light, is one of the oldest fears we have. And for 3 ordinary people, it turned out to be real. These aren't ghost stories. They're documented, verifiable accounts of people who were being watched. Hidden crawl spaces, secret cameras, cars that never leave. Each story ends the same way, with someone realizing far too late that they weren't alone. Tonight, we're covering 3 disturbing true stories from people who were being watched and what investigators found after. It started with missing food and ended with something moving in the attic. In early 2008, a single father living in Seattle began noticing small things out of place. Boxes shifted slightly, a half-empty milk carton he swore he hadn't touched, doors unlocked in the morning after being bolted the night before. He brushed it off, maybe stress, maybe his son sneaking snacks late at night. Then one evening, as he sat watching TV, he heard the faint creak of footsteps directly above him. Slow, careful, deliberate. He grabbed a flashlight and climbed into the attic. Nothing. The next night, the same sounds returned, heavier this time. Fearing an intruder, he set up a small security camera in the living room before heading to work the next day. When he reviewed the footage that night, his stomach dropped. A figure, thin, pale, and moving silently, descended the attic ladder, wandered through the kitchen, opened the fridge, ate, and disappeared back into the ceiling. Police arrived and discovered a small crawl space at the far end of the attic, concealed by insulation. Inside were blankets, half-eaten food, and a makeshift pillow. Someone had been living above him for weeks, watching, listening, waiting. The intruder escaped before police could identify them. The father and his son moved out that same night. No one was ever caught. She kept finding her mail opened and assumed it was a mistake. In 2014, a college student renting a small apartment in Chicago started noticing her packages arriving torn and the mailbox slightly ajar. She complained to management. They said it was probably a sorting error. Then came the phone calls, always around 2 a.m., from numbers that she didn't even recognize. When she answered, the line was silent, except for her own voice, echoing back at her, distorted. Weeks later, she woke up to faint clicking inside her bedroom, a mechanical tick, like a small device. She looked up. The smoke detector's LED light was blinking irregularly. Police were called. Inside the smoke detector, they found a micro camera wired to transmit to a laptop in the apartment across the hall. The neighbor, a quiet, mid-30s man she'd barely spoken to. He was arrested while trying to destroy the hard drive. On it were hundreds of clips filmed through hidden cameras placed inside her vent and ceiling light. He'd been watching her for months. Footage showed him entering her apartment while she was out, moving small things, her books, her towels, just enough for her to notice. He said it was a game. In the end, the charges stuck. He served time, but to her, the damage was permanent. She later told reporters she can't sleep without unplugging every camera in her home, including her phone. He always waved at the car parked across the street, until one day, it wasn't there. In 2019, a retired couple living in rural Kentucky began noticing a blue sedan parked at the end of their driveway every evening around 6 p.m. At first, they assumed it belonged to someone hunting nearby, but the car never moved. Even during storms, it would sit there with its headlights off, engine occasionally running. The husband mentioned it to the neighbors. They joked about it being a watch car, but the laughter faded when one morning, the sedan didn't appear. Entire tracks led from the shoulder into the woods behind an abandoned farmhouse. Police followed the trail. Inside the decaying house, they found a lawn chair, empty snack wrappers, cigarette butts, and dozens of printed photos scattered across the floor. All of them were of the same couple, taken through their windows, at night, from angles matching the blue sedan's vantage point. Fingerprints were partial and inconclusive. The car was never located again. Whoever was watching them vanished just as suddenly as they had arrived. No one ever returned to the house, but the couple still refuses to close their curtains. They say it feels worse not knowing whether the watcher might still be out there. Sometimes the signs are small: a flickering light, a misplaced key, a car that lingers too long. Most of us explain them away. We tell ourselves it's nothing. But for these people, the feeling of being watched wasn't paranoia. It was survival instinct. These stories aren't urban legends. They're reminders that danger doesn't always knock. Sometimes it hides in the walls, breathes through the vents, or sits quietly across the street, waiting for you to notice. Which story unsettled you the most? Comment below, subscribe, and join me next time for another case that'll keep you up tonight.